Today we're going to be talking about the best picks in all of the first 5 rounds of your fantasy football draft. In round 1, there's going to be 2 names. Round 2 is going to have 1 name. Round 3 is going to have 5 names. Nice looking round 3. Round 4 is going to have 3 names. And round 5 is going to have another 2 names. So there's going to be plenty of options to feed all families depending on where you're picking in each of these rounds. If you want to see another video for later rounds in your draft, we got tons of vids on the channel, and just let me know down in the comments. Smash that like and subscribe button. Round 1, you're going to like this one. Round 1, I hate to be boring, I hate to be vanilla. We're going Ja'Marr Chase as the best draft pick in the first round. Now the problem with this is that you're not getting much value. He's not undervalued. He's the one of one this season. The reason I have to say it, though, is because he deserves to be that. Looking at his stats, he had 24 points per game in 2024, and I expect him to do just the same thing. We saw him in preseason. In one quarter of preseason, he dropped 4 catches, 80 yards, and a touchdown. Wham bam, that's 18 points in one quarter. So he's picking up right where he left off. He had averaged 100 receiving yards per game. He averaged 1 touchdown per game. The Bengals defense is still terrible. They're going to have to play from behind. They're going to be airing it out. If Burrow's healthy, if Ja'Marr Chase is healthy, Ja'Marr Chase is the clear best pick in fantasy football, but he's going where he belongs. Now, Jahmyr Gibbs is why I have to do a second name in round 1. Now, the reason I like Jahmyr Gibbs and why Jahmyr Gibbs is so interesting is because he's a bit undervalued. Like, you can see flockfantasy.com, Mason Dodd, nice enough to let us use this. Go check this out for free. Jahmyr Gibbs, they have ranked at number 2 with all the expert average rankings. Jahmyr Gibbs on ESPN, his ADP is 5 or 6. So he's not going second in drafts. He's going 6th. He's going behind Bijan, behind Saquon, behind Jefferson, and behind Saquon, right? So I think I already said that. But Jahmyr Gibbs, the reason I like Jahmyr Gibbs, he has a CMC type ceiling if the pest David Montgomery's banged up. Jahmyr Gibbs averaged 30 receiving yards per game, and he only played 56% of the snaps and averaged 21 points per game. Imagine if the snap percentage raises higher. Well, we can imagine that because when David Montgomery was banged up, that's right, Jahmyr Gibbs had 46 points in Week 18. Jahmyr Gibbs had 28, 25, 25. When David Montgomery is banged up, when he was banged up, and the snap share raised to 70%, 70%, and 70% again, he averaged 35 points per game. Now, you don't want to project out a David Montgomery injury, but you can say, listen, David Montgomery's going to start getting phased out a little bit more. David Montgomery's probably going to, maybe he's more of a goal line back. But Jahmyr Gibbs is going to have a high ceiling this season, as always, and you're getting him as the RB3 off draft boards, which is why I love him in round 1. Round 2, I'm going with one name, A.J. Brown. Now, the reason I'm going with one name is because I love the value. I honestly think that you're not a fool if you take A.J. Brown over Drake London, A.J. Brown over Henry, over Nico Collins, over Ashton Jenney, over Devon Achane, over CMC, and maybe even Malik Neighbors and Puka. Now, the reason I'm saying that is A.J. Brown does not have the same ceiling as almost all of the names I just said, but the floor is there. Looking at what he's done, he averages 17, 18 points per game, and the thing that I love to see the last 3 seasons, 30% target share, 30% target share, 34% target share in 2024. If the Eagles have to pass the ball more, A.J. Brown benefits 34% of that increased passing volume. That's a simple mathematical stat. So everything he did in 2024 with the lowest passing volume offense in the league, if they take a step forward in that, which they will because they have a harder schedule, it's going to get funneled through A.J. Brown, which is why A.J. Brown is a great smash of a pick in 2025 this season. His touchdown rate could also even improve, only 1 touchdown every 2 games on average, but you can see that his efficiency still was very high. He had one of the highest yards per target of his career, getting targeted downfield 11 yards per target. So I still think A.J. Brown's poised to crush fantasy football if you take him in round 2. Round 3, this is an easy one. We got 5 names, and 4 of them are quarterbacks. Elite quarterback is the name of the game right here in round 3. Now, my ranking for quarterback is Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, then Jalen Hurts, then Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels, he's got 52 rushing yards per game, which is great, but Jalen Hurts has 1 rushing touchdown per game. So that's 5 points per game, and that's 6 points per game, let alone the fact that he's also averaging 30, 40 rushing yards per game to go along with it. So I think Jalen Hurts has a bit higher of a rushing upside ceiling, even a safer floor, in my opinion, than Jaden Daniels. Now, the passing volume, Jaden Daniels projects out better than Hurts, obviously. But I think Hurts might be my favorite of any of the quarterbacks this season in fantasy football drafts, but I'm still going Josh Allen and Lamar over him. Now, if you get an elite quarterback right here at the beginning of round 3, even the end of round 2, you're setting yourself up for success. Those 4 quarterbacks can break fantasy football. And if you don't get these 4 quarterbacks, I don't like reaching on Joe Burrow. I don't like going and taking Mahomes. I like going Bo Nix, Baker, Kyler Murray. And if you miss on all 7 of those guys, then you're kind of punting QB in my eyes. But those are great picks. Now, looking at another round 2 good selection, we're looking at running back again. We're looking at Chase Brown. Now, Chase, actually, so that's round 3. Round 3. Get your heads back on. All right, round 3, Chase Brown. Chase Brown has an ADP on ESPN of 36, so this is a reach. This is the end of round 3. I'm taking him early round 3. I'm taking the end of round 2, to be honest. Now, the reason I'm looking at this is 16 point per game average in 2024 is deceptive. The second half of the season, when Chase Brown was the de facto RB1, he averaged 20 plus points per game. In preseason, we saw this as his backfield. The coaching staff comes out saying, listen, Chase Brown's going to be our workhorse back. And I believe him. And also, he has a receiving upside. 23 receiving yards per game. Again, 3 receptions per game. And that's including the first half of the year where he was a bum. So really, those numbers are higher. Now, Chase Brown, again, like Jamar Chase, worst defense in the league. Going to be playing from behind. Chase Brown's going to have plenty of scoring opportunities, plenty of receiving upside. I love Chase Brown, one of my favorite running back values currently on ESPN. Round 4, we got 3 names. Name number 1 is Amari Hampton. Amari Hampton is one of my favorite rookie running back values. I feel like Ashton Jennings pretty high up there in round 1, currently valued. But Hampton, you have Najee Harris, but guess what? It's a hardball offense. I get that the injury to the O-lineman is going to hurt for sure, but Hampton still projects out to have a receiving role. Hampton projects out to have a majority, at least 60% of the snaps in my eyes over Najee, and Najee currently has an eye patch on his eye. He's like Blackbeard the Pirate, so Hampton still is poised for success. Another guy in round 4 is going to be George Kittle, our first tight end off the board. You got Bowers and McBride, pretty fairly priced, both good values though in my eyes. Then you have Kittle coming with an ADP of 40, and George Kittle was the tight end 1 last season, averaging 16 points per game. Signs a 4-year, very expensive contract, so you don't really worry about age, you don't really worry about injuries, and he's been pretty healthy relatively for Kittle standards the last 4 seasons. And last year he averaged 73 receiving yards per game and a touchdown every 2 games. We could see him take another step forward in the red zone. His touchdown rate could potentially improve there. You got CMC, maybe CMC eats into that target share, but Debo's gone, Ayuk is hurt, Jawan Jennings is hurt, Pearsall, I mean, the receivers, I'm convinced they're all not great. Like until I see otherwise, the receivers are all kind of just mid, except for Kittle, except for CMC. And the 49ers are a retirement home community, but Kittle is poised to crush this value. Another round 4 player that I love the value on. If you missed receivers in the first couple rounds, maybe you went Jahmyr Gibbs, elite QB, follow it up with round 3 Kittle, or maybe round 3 you go with like McBride, falling value. Round 4, I like Mike Evans. I like Mike Evans because of the consistency. This guy's been drinking from the fountain of youth, and every single season, you're getting a wide receiver 10 finisher. You know you're going to get about a 15, 16, 17 point per game average from him here, and his touchdown rate was very high in 2024 with Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield had success. Mike Evans also had success. This could be Mike Evans' last year in the league. It's technically a contract year for him. They extended Godwin. They drafted Buka. The writing's on the wall. So Evans is going to want to ball out this season and show he's still got it. So I think Evans is a good pick right here. Round 5, 2 names. Running back. I don't know why Breece Hall is this far down draft boards. Breece Hall in round 5 will feed families. Breece Hall, I mean, if I pull up just the ESPN ADP, right, I know it's not like, oh, it's ESPN. Breece Hall is currently ranked as the 20th running back in ADP, so he's RB20. First 2 years, RB7, RB6 finishes. Last year, RB17 finish. So even in his worst season of RB17, you're getting him now at RB20 off of draft boards. You're drafting him at his floor right here in round 5. I'd even consider him in round 4. This is a no-brainer pick in my eyes. Now, I get that the Jets coaching staff might hate him. I get that Isaiah Davis and Braylon Allen, maybe they'll have a role, which would be insane in my eyes because Breece Hall is so much better. Breece Hall is going to want a new contract. He's going to want to get out of here after this season. So Breece Hall, I mean, there's definitely a world where they phase him out because they're crazy and the Jets are a troll organization. But Breece Hall should be getting all of the touches in this Jets offense along with Garrett Wilson. Final person, and it's another round 5 guy, is going to be Jalen Waddle. You get the departure of Jonnu Smith. You have Tyreek Hill. You have Tua. When Tua is healthy, Jalen Waddle crushes. First 3 years of his career, about 14, 15 points per game. Pretty respectable. It's wide receiver 2 type numbers. Now, don't look at 2024. He had Skylar Thompson at quarterback. Personally, I'd probably retire if I had Skylar Thompson at quarterback. Jalen Waddle, in the last couple of years prior to that, he's been consistent. He's been pretty consistent. And when he's not banged up, when his quarterback's not banged up, you can expect him to have a solid role. Look at the target share he did those first 3 years. Around 23% target share. Now that Jonnu Smith is gone, and they're passing the ball to Darren Waller, Jalen Waddle is the clear wide receiver 1B in this offense to Tyreek Hill. Not wide receiver 2, because Tyreek Hill's getting up there in age as well. Wide receiver 1B. And then you go to wide receiver 2 is Devon Achane. Wide receiver 3, and really that's wide receiver 4 at this point because it's 1B, is Nick Westbrook-Akina, who's going to have more of a red zone role. So Jalen Waddle is just going to have such a high opportunity share this season in 2025 that I love the value right here in round 5. His ADP is around 60. Those are the first 5 rounds, the best values, the best pick in every single round. Let me know what you guys think. Smash the like, subscribe button. Thanks for watching.